Welcome to this episode where we're going to be talking about whether the developer version of Clickteam is worth getting, what you get in it, and should you upgrade. I've got a couple of messages on my last video saying that people weren't sure whether to upgrade, and they're just looking for this video for information about what it is that that the developer version gives you. Now, the developer version is quite expensive, and that's taking it lightly. I did spend quite a few hundred, I think it was about 300-400, something like that, a long time ago. And then Clickteam did that ridiculous Steam sale where I think it was 80 quid for the developer version and all the exporters. And I picked up the Steam version then. So I've got sort of two versions of it. I end up just using the Steam version for some reason. I don't know why, because Steam stops you from logging on to the Clickteam from multiple computers, which is quite irritating because I'm down here in the studio and I've got an office upstairs. So it's quite irritating, like leaving this computer on and it go, oh no, you have to log out of that computer and into this computer. But anyway, I've had the developer version for a long time. Say over a decade, so it's quite difficult for me to remember what wasn't on the developer version. So, like I did yesterday, I've got this comparison chart here, so I can basically talk through what I use on this chart and have taken for granted and what I haven't. This is just on the Clickteam website, and it's the same one as we used yesterday, but actually this makes it look like the developer version doesn't give you very much, and we'll see why that's deceptive in a second. So it says that you get royalty-free logo and credit-free, not subject to runtime agreement. So basically, that game you create is yours. And I'm not speaking legally, I'm not a lawyer, but this is suggesting to me that Clickteam have no claims over it. You don't have to credit Clickteam, you don't have to do anything to do with Clickteam. That is your game. Now, if it was me and I released something successful, I probably would want everyone to know it was made with Clickteam, like the Five Nights at Freddy's team. I hope I've got the name of that right because I've seen it so often. The ability right to change the version information of the exe file. So again, you have complete control, it seems, and I don't know how much control that complete control is, but you're not tied into using Clickteam branded stuff, I think. Which is going to be important if you want to release the game and sort of have ownership over it. Ability to use MDI applications. Now, MDI is multiple document interface. So you imagine, I don't know, Photoshop or something like that you have those windows that pop up with settings and stuff, and those windows kind of float around your display. They're not tied into your application. And so you could actually have them on a different display and have your main application there. So if you're building, say, an application rather than a game, MDI is going to be really important, and you're going to miss it not having it. And I have used MDI a few times for various things. There are some caveats to MDI that I couldn't get over, and maybe that was just me not understanding it, but there were some things I couldn't get MDI to do. Ability to dock sub-applications. So you can have like layers within layers, levels within levels, applications within applications. And again, that's really good for applications rather than games as much. But a game I made was like a collection of mini games. And what it enabled me to do was set up each individual mini game separately and then have like this mega game that drew in all of the mini games. And it was a nice way of doing it. Ability to create frames without display interface to save memory from frames. Okay, so there's something there. I probably use that. I have no idea what that's referring to. Now, that is pretty much it. Everything else is exactly the same as Fusion 2.5. So you might look at that and go, well, why the heck would you upgrade? That's a lot of money just to remove Clickteam, which, you know, like me, you're probably proud of the fact that the stuff you made was with Clickteam. You don't mind them getting a bit of press off it. But what this doesn't suggest, and I don't know whether this has changed, I don't think it has, if you go onto Clickteam Extension Manager, part of their website, There's also it basically shows you all the extensions you can have, and if you're new to Clickteam, extensions are basically things like the text box or the string parser or like things like that. It actually shows that a lot of them, or a significant amount, are for developer accounts only. And if I go through them, I'm not going to read out every single one because there's, I don't know, about 50 of them or something. But all of the extensions to do with monetizing your app. So if you're looking to monetize it on Android or iOS, they're all developer only. There's like the camera app for Android, I think, or for iOS is developer only. The data grid object, which has bailed me out of a few situations with data stuff, so that's quite important. The double precision calculator object is really, really important if you need it. You'll know whether you need it. All the Game Center stuff for iOS, the iOS store, the iOS video. So if you're looking to do an iOS or Android app, by the looks of this, it's going to be quite important to upgrade. SQLite 3 Pro. Now, if you are doing an application, it's going to be really, really important you work with a database, because what you don't want is the user to be updating something at the same time, or updating it twice at the same time, and therefore risk corrupting the data. So you will need a database for quick and easy and reliable updating of information. So the SQLite object is absolutely critical for that, and it's a really good object as well. The XML parser, the web control, there are a significant amount of objects here or extensions here. I say it's iOS and Android. There are a few Android ones. Okay, yeah, there are a few Android ones. They're mainly iOS actually, weirdly. So is it worth it? Well, what you'll do is you'll probably come to a point in a project where you're like, right, I'm ready to go. I'm releasing it on the iOS store, and then you'll be like, oh, actually, it's going quite well. It's making a lot of people are downloading it. It'd be nice if I do X, Y, and Z. And you'll get to a point where you realize that the thing you need will require you to upgrade to the developer account. I would upgrade then and only then. Looking at those lists, like, there's some things there that, because I'm doing kind of niche things with Clickteam, I've needed, like the data view object and things like that. But the average user probably won't need. So I would only upgrade if you get to a point of a project where you've looked on the forum, and the forums are amazing. You've heard me say it 1,000 times. I would only upgrade if you go to the forum and it goes, right, actually, to do what you want to do, you need this extension, and this extension is only available with a developer account. And then you sit and go, okay, fair enough. Or you wait for Clickteam to do some of their ridiculous sales on Steam, and pick it up for. I mean, if it's anywhere less than $100, £100, I would definitely get it. 100%. I wouldn't even think about it. So that's my view. All of this obviously is my opinion. If you have the dev account, have you felt it was worth it? If you haven't got the dev account, do you think anything I've said today makes you think, oh, actually, that would be really good if I could do that? Let me know in the comments. And I haven't had any suggestions yet for tomorrow's video, so I'm hoping one of you somewhere has an idea for me to discuss tomorrow. Otherwise, I'm really hoping to get back to projects next week, which I'm going to be a lot happier doing. I'm really looking forward to using Clickteam for macros effectively. It's a really interesting video, and I think if you've only used Clickteam for games, I think a lot of this will wake you up to the possibilities of that Clickteam has. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.